guys, what's going on? This is our first review for Two Awesome Men.
And this late review will be over the new Jungle Book movie.
Oh yes, baby, it's our first, so...
Here we go!
The Jungle Book is a movie directed by Jon Favreau, and it's about a little boy named Mowgli, who's played by Neil Sethi. He's a new actor, but it's about him, and he is living in a jungle, and he's lived in this jungle since he was a baby. He's been raised by animals, specifically wolves, since he was a baby. And he's being mentored by a Black Panther named Bagheera, and he is voiced by Ben Kingsley.
The villain of the movie, Shere Khan, who's voiced by Idris Elba, hates the fact that Mowgli, a man, lives in the jungle and wants him gone. So, to make it easier on everyone in the community, Mowgli decides to leave and embark on a journey back to Man Village. And that's where his adventure begins.
Okay, so now it's time for our review.
First of all, we both loved it. It was a very fun film, and there's rarely any dull moments in the film, which I really give high praise to the movie for.
Yes, exactly. There was barely any. But also a good thing that I liked about it was the sound effects that they used in the movie. It just fit really well with everything. Especially, I don't know why, but I love whenever there's these moments in which like water sounding sometimes, because there's a scene in which Mowgli is like floating on a log in like the river or something like that. And everything's really quiet except for the fact that you can hear this water, and it just sounded so neat, and it was so cool the way they just put it together like that.
And the next point I want to bring up is the CGI in this movie. The CGI in this movie was definitely by far one of the best CGI I've seen in a movie. And considering that pretty much everything in this movie was CGI, I mean, there's only one human in the movie, pretty much. There's a few others, but very short time periods. So there's only like one real recurring human in the movie. Like all the animals were CGI, all the jungle was CGI, so it's probably one of the best I've seen CGI wise.
Yeah, and also I love the way the songs were incorporated into it, just because it's based off the old cartoon, and so I don't know if y'all saw that or not, but I'm pretty sure some of y'all did, but. Yeah, the old cartoon, and so it has songs like "The Bare Necessities" in that, and so I remember whenever I watched the trailer for the Jungle Book, it had like a little bit of like a little whistle from the song "Bare Necessities," and I got really excited when I heard that, and so when I actually saw it in the movie, it was like it almost gave me chills whenever I heard the Bare Necessities. So it has like the Bare Necessities, and it has like "I Want to Be Like You," so that's really cool the way they actually put those into the movie.
And then the voice actors that they chose for this movie were incredible. Like you got Idris Elba, you got Ben Kingsley, you got Bill Murray, Christopher Walken, Scarlett Johansson, and Giancarlo Esposito, who plays Gustavo on Breaking Bad. The whole cast for this movie was just brilliant, and even the little boy was pretty good. Here are the negative things that we found in this movie.
Now these things, we're not necessarily saying they were so terrible that they took over the movie. It's just a few things that we noticed that we didn't necessarily like that much. It took away a little bit from the film itself.
The first thing would be the little boy that they picked to play Mowgli. Now, I'm not saying he did a terrible job as Mowgli, but he did have a few rough patches in the movie. I mean, he was the only human character in this movie, so I can't bag on him too much because there was literally no other humans he could interact or any other animals or anything because all the animals were CGI. So he was pretty much working with nothing. So, I mean, he was definitely not Tom Hanks from Castaway by any standards, but he was definitely pretty good. And also, it was his very first movie. It was his very first movie, and I think he's 11 years old.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did a pretty incredible job, but there were a few rough patches that really took away a little bit from the film, but not too much.
Yeah. Another thing I didn't really like. Okay, so I like the scene. There's the scene with King Louie in it, and I'm like we said earlier, the voice actors are good. Christopher Walken did great as King Louie, but the only thing I didn't like about King Louie was his size. He was freaking huge. I don't understand why he was so big. I just found it kind of unnecessary for him to be that big.
Yeah, he was pretty much King Kong sized, and I thought it was really weird.
Yeah, it was kind of unnecessary because the movie wasn't necessarily really realistic, but the animal sizes were pretty realistic. But overall, the King Louis, he was huge. Like they were in this big, like I don't really know what to call it, but they were in this big like I would say maybe like his kingdom. They're in his kingdom, and he like it seemed like he barely fit in there because of how big he was.
Yeah, and it really took away from some of the fun in the
Yeah,
movie.
it really did. Because like in the cartoon, whenever you had like King Louis dancing around and
On,
stuff like
I Want to Be Like You, the song.
yeah, like it really didn't. They couldn't have that because he was just so freaking big. You know, he couldn't be dancing around. He just sat there and sung. You know, he just sat there and sung. And that's all that he did.
And the next point that I want to bring up is that, well, since this is a spoiler-free video, I don't want to go too deep into this because if any of y'all haven't seen the movie, I don't want to spoil anything. But the villain Shere Khan, they sort of explain some of his backstory, but they never really explained why he was so evil. He was just evil just to be evil, pretty much. And I didn't really like the fact. I think they could have just fleshed it out more, explained why he felt such hate, but they didn't really go into that too far. So
Yeah, that actually is really true because I do remember like we said, we're not going to go over it, but yeah, they do talk about it a little bit, and they have it, but it doesn't fully make sense to make him so evil, to make him so hatred towards Mowgli, have so much hatred towards Mowgli, and so yeah, and it was that all your point on that? Yeah. Okay, cool. So another thing I didn't really like about it, and and whenever I say I don't like about it, it's kind of
it's pretty mutual.
Yeah,
I mean, we talked about it right after each of us saw it.
So one other thing we didn't like about it was the fact that we didn't like Scarlett Johansson's voice as Kaa. Now, like whenever I saw the trailer for the movie, you could hear Scarlett Johansson's voice, and I really hated it in the trailer. Now, whenever I saw the movie, it got a little better. I'm not going to say it was just horrible whenever we saw the movie, but it was just like something about her voice in this film as Kaa just did not fit like at all. And I understand what they're trying to do. They're trying to go for like a seductive voice, something that draws you in, you know, something that you listen to and you just cannot like stop listening to. That's what they're trying to do. But I understand that. But for some reason or another, it just didn't fit in. It just didn't fit in with the actual character somehow or another.
And I just felt like that entire scene was just like really out of place in the movie. I mean, I know, like I honestly don't remember that much about the cartoon, but I do know that it was a big part in the cartoon, like Kaa trying to seduce or draw Mowgli in. But like the tone of this movie is just like really random. Like I don't know how to explain it.
Yeah, and I really think instead of going for the seductive way, they should have went with what the cartoon did. Because what the cartoon did was they did more of a hypnotizing. That's more of what it was. And so Kaa had this more kind of creepy voice, and so they went for a more hypnotizing kind of route instead of the seductive route that they went here.
And I know the director. I was reading that the director, the reason why he cast a female for Kaa, because in the cartoon it was played by a male, but the reason why the director cast Scarlett Johansson was because he felt that the cartoon had too many male characters, so he wanted a female character to break that male cast. But I felt that even with a female character, you could have gone the hypnotizing route. You didn't have to go down the seducing route. But
yeah, so that's really true. And so that's about all the points that we have on this film whatsoever. So, you know, we had our good moments, and the good moments, the whole movie was good. I would highly recommend it. But there's just a few bad parts, and they weren't bad. They were just kind of negative points that we kind of were trying to be a little nitpicky on. So they didn't take over the quality of the film. You know, they just took a little bit away from it. And so overall, I would give this film an A-. That would be the rating I would give it. What would you give it?
I would probably give an A- too, and I'm not trying to side with my cousin, but I think that's a pretty fair grade. I mean, I was even thinking that after I saw it, I was trying to decide between A or A-, but A- I think is a good grade.
Yeah, so that's our review for Jungle Book, and I hope y'all enjoyed it. And if you did, you can click right on the subscribe button. You know, I'm pretty sure you can see that pretty well.
And we have a Facebook page if you want to like that. It's Two Awesome Men, same name as our channel.
Yes.
We also have a Twitter, same name.
Yeah, we're trying to come up with an Instagram page. We're not positive yet, but yeah, for sure we have a Facebook and Twitter page. So yeah, you just try to go to those, like them, subscribe to us, and there you go. Thank you so much for watching.
Thank you.